I'll talk about my first love, Bruce Springsteen, 1984, same year as I was born.
This bed ain't going nowhere. No, it's always gonna be here. And I'm always gonna be here.
Hi, I'm Andy Golledge. I would describe the music I make as kind of emotive dad rock. I kind of came into like playing music in my late teens, and I wasn't really into anything that all of my friends were listening to at the time, whatever was popular. And then it wasn't until CDs started coming around and my parents started buying all the greatest hits. They had like Bob Dylan's greatest hits and James Taylor's greatest hits and Van Morrison and Elton John and all the, all the big names. Not until then that I was like, just got right into music and was like, oh, this is really cool.
My room's filling up with water, and I'm stuck staring at the ceiling.
I mean, it helped that I grew up in Tamworth, which is considered the country music capital of Australia. But, it wasn't really until I left Tamworth that I fell in love with country music. And I think listening to artists like Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, and other like Joni Mitchell and, artists like that, acoustic-driven kind of music, and all of that music has elements of blues, rock and roll, and country. It's all just the same kind of chords, the same kind of song structure. I think it was either inevitable. I think you either pick up an electric guitar or you keep getting better at playing the acoustic. That was just a natural course for me. And I think, being from Tamworth, it was kind of already ingrained in my subconscious. So it just kind of blossomed the more and further I got away from Tamworth.
Well, she called me up, said I'm coming back.
First record is Alan Wax, which is Mountain Roads and City Streets, which is a fantastic record. The Ozark Mountain Daredevils, Car Over the Lake album, Lowell George, Thanks I'll Eat Here. We got Liz Stringer, First Time Really Feeling. These records have definitely influenced the sound that I make. I've always been fascinated by storytellers and a lot of old American music, even from like way back, like when you're talking about folk and country, like the old field recordings from the 1920s, like the Civil War era, some great folk music. I've always just been really intrigued by that kind of music. Just emotional music, just telling the truth.
These days it's very hard to find.
The defining features for country music for me are like its emotion. It's fun, painful. Especially now, I think a lot of people are coming back to country music because we're fed so much stimulus and so much bullshit that you always come back to something that's real and emotional.
She was my newsstand pressed to my love.
If you want to make two sides of country, you have one side of country where I think I am, and it is so broad and vast and colourful, and kind of you can't almost see the end of the horizon. And then you have that painful pop country stuff about old mate's car, his ute, and what his woman's doing for him. That's why it's painful to listen to.
Feet on fire, just in my head.
My idea of genre once again comes back to my influences. Most of my influences, I wouldn't put them in a genre. I would say they sound like themselves. If you heard a Bob Dylan song or a Bruce Springsteen song or a Joni Mitchell song, you would say, that's Joni Mitchell or that's Bruce Springsteen. You wouldn't go, hey, that's a sweet rock and roll song. Let me look up the rock and roll file for that song.
Little girl gonna ask you to try.
That's the beautiful thing about country. It's so vast and it just expands so many different genres.
She was my newsstand.